Okay, we've got another gift here. This is Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack on the Nintendo Switch. Now, you might have heard of this either now or maybe when this game first came out. Azure Striker Gunvolt was first released for the 3DS, but as a digital-only title in August of 2014. And then I believe in February of 2015 they released the sequel, Azure Striker Gunvolt 2. Then soon, both games got put together on a physical release for the 3DS. And I was going to get that at some point because I really, Azure Striker Gunvolt looked like a really fun game. And, I was just like, let's get some more love for my 3DS, I mean, I've had the 3DS for 7 years now, and, well, I still only have 23 games for it, so, yeah. But when they announced this, I was like, alright, I'll just get the Switch version, and in some ways it's better, too, because, hey, I'm supporting, the game developers, and, you guys should really do that whenever, a digital-only game finally gets a physical release, even if it's years or a year or something like that, support that. And especially in this case, because Azure Striker Gunvolt is a great game, for sure. Now, of course, you may know it's, very similar to, like Mega Man X or Mega Man Zero. It's that kind of, sort of, run-and-gun sort of platformer kind of deal. It's like that. One thing that really makes this game stand out to me a lot is the shield lightning mechanic thing that you have, where you press, R or, X on the controller, and, it surrounds good old Gunvolt in a shield and of lightning, and, the lightning can, reach around targets after you shoot, your enemies with your regular pistol, and just absolutely fucking destroy them. Or, you can do that to, activate switches and, all kinds of other things. You can dash and stuff with L. It's just, from dashing around the levels to, killing enemies with the shield while also, mixing it up with the regular-ass gun because, of course, the shield doesn't last forever. It's a very, very well-made, enjoyable game. I have not played Azure Striker Gunvolt 2 yet, mainly because I'm focusing on the first one. And the first one, so far I've put about 3 hours into it, and, there seems to be only 2 more levels left on the title screen. And, the story, try my best to follow it. The thing is, the characters do talk during the stages, which, of course, the game is, in Japanese for voice acting, but, it's subtitled. The problem with that is that, it's hard to actually concentrate on what they're saying, mainly because, then you would have to focus on reading and playing the level, unless you would actually, just stop and read what they have to say, because, well, if you keep going while they're talking, there are times where their text boxes will cancel out, and you don't know what the hell they'll be saying. So, that's kind of a, sort of a nitpick I have with this game. But, yeah, it starts off with Gunvolt rescuing some, someone, a singer of sorts, who was being used for all kinds of evil purposes and whatnot. The back of the box also mentions that there was also, DLC from the 3DS game, put in here, so it's just various features like that would make this definitely the definitive version of Azure Striker Gunvolt, and just a great game that's definitely worth picking up for sure. So, if you have a Switch, absolutely get this. Even if you already own this on the 3DS, definitely get this for sure. And of course, the big Nintendo Switch game that, really shows all kinds of amazing sort of hope for the Switch's future, Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I actually ended up getting this game day one, October 27th. I went down to Walmart to see that they had a shit ton of copies of this game, which is good. Oh man, where do I begin with this? For one thing, Luigi's being added in this game through DLC of sorts. I don't know if it's paid DLC or free DLC, but yeah, he's not inherently in this game, even though you can get his costume along with Wario and Waluigi's costume. Also, Toadette's in this game, which that's actually pretty cool. Toadette's making her debut into a main series Mario game. And, well, Pauline, who would have seen that coming? Of course, Pauline, has appeared in, like, the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, like, on the DS and, you know, the first one on the Game Boy Advance and whatnot. But here she is, you know, in sort of a more major sort of role, you know, the mayor of New Donk City, which it's crazy with New Donk City that Donkey Kong's not even really in this game. I mean, there's an 8-bit sprite of Donkey Kong in one of the sections where, you know, in New Donk City, you know that one with the whole famous Jump Up Superstar song playing, which that song is fucking fantastic. Absolutely a fantastic song. And the game itself is also fantastic, you know, it's of course, you know, just, it's a return to the sort of sandbox collectathon of 3D Mario, but rather than just simply returning to what it was like in Mario 64, Sunshine Galaxy, and Galaxy 2, it brings a whole new approach to that sort of sandbox, sort of collectathon Mario-type gameplay. Because, of course, the last 3D Mario was Super Mario 3D World, and the last one before that was Super Mario 3D Land. And those games are essentially, you know, 3D, 2D Mario in the sense that they're 3D levels, but instead of collecting, you know, like, various MacGuffins and whatnot, you get to the end of the stage. And 3D Land and 3D World pretty much did that sort of formula as great as it could, and it did a great job with both. With this, it also does a great job with that sort of, you know, collectathon sort of deal. Maybe even arguably better in some cases to some people, because, you know, in the case of, like, you know, Sunshine and 64 and Galaxy and whatnot, you had your set amount of 120 stars, or, of course, Shine Sprites in Sunshine. And, you know, as much as I love those games, maybe perhaps sometimes the tasks of collecting them could be a little, you know, tedious or annoying, or maybe, like, you know, what the fuck, how the fuck I was supposed to know that? Maybe, though maybe not, I don't know, because, you know, hey, those games are very well known, that a lot of nooks and crannies and just secrets about them are known, you know, to many players. But with this, the process of collecting Power Moons is, of course, a lot more abundant, because for one thing, there's a lot more of them. There's over 900 Power Moons in this game, which you need, like, you know, 100 or so to actually beat the game, so don't worry about that. But it's just incredibly fun to do. You know, just the way they do it. It's like, for example, you could spend, like, a quick afternoon or something on the Switch, either portably or on the TV. I've never played this game portably. I don't play the Switch portably much at all. But, you know, you could do that, collect, you know, say, 15 or 20 Power Moons in various levels, and there you go. That's your gaming accomplishment of the day. Because the main quest itself isn't very long. You know, you can get it done in, like, a couple hours and stuff. I mean, of course, there's a lot of speed runs of this game. You know, there's fucking 1,000 people running this game. Like, already it, you know, fucking, like, trumped over Super Mario Sunshine runners. Maybe not Mario 64, but that's just insane how many people, you know, are running this game. But, yeah, you know, like... And also, of course, with its Power Moon collecting, it's a lot more free. Sure, you have story-driven, you know, Power Moons and stuff, but really, you can pretty much just get whatever the hell you want and just be on your way. In fact, that's what might motivate me to do a quick second playthrough of this game. Probably a little more during the summer, you know, where I just don't do any of the bosses. Well, of course, I'll still keep my main file, of course, because right now I have, like, 430-ish Power Moons. But even so, I'm taking a small, quick break on this game, like it's on a brief hiatus, because I want to play this a little more during the summer, because again, this came out in late October, and, you know, for the last couple months, I just played this, among other things, of course, but it's like, I just want to wait a little longer until the weather gets better, shall we say, before I continue playing Super Mario Odyssey. You know, just an overall incredible game. I mean, sure, the two-player mode is nothing to write home about, you know, one plays Cappy, one plays Mario, even though the first player can always control them both at the same time. That's nothing special. But, you know, hey, you possess enemies, you do all kinds of great stuff. Like, honestly, what I'm saying about Mario Odyssey is things you probably haven't heard said before. The thing is, do I like this more than, like, a lot of the other 3D Marios? Well, the thing is, the 3D Marios, the other 3D Marios had also a great sense of gameplay and fun and adventure that this doesn't deliver, but that's also because, you know, they're two different kinds of styles of collectathons, but also just great stuff overall. But, again, I have to praise this game for the way it sort of reinvents that sort of collectathon Mario gameplay. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about Super Mario Odyssey. Alright, so from this episode on, and, you know, basically for the rest of the year, I'm gonna be talking about games that I actually got recently. There's no more ridiculous, oh, here, let me talk about some games I bought in October in fucking, mid-February. No. But first, here's a clip of me talking about 2 Switch games. Here we have what is probably... Here we have what is kind of the first game I got in 2018, but not really. I'll explain that more later. This is Soul Calibur Broken Destiny on the PSP. Now, of course, I was gonna get this, because, hey, gotta get all the Soul Calibur games, and the only one I'm missing is Soul Calibur Legends on the Wii. And this, well, it's, Soul Calibur 4, but on the PSP, and with Kratos. And, there's no, and of course no Darth Vader or Yoda. There's also no arcade mode, which is kinda lame. However, as this game is, it's pretty damn good. It's more the same Soul Calibur action that I enjoy ever so much, but on a handheld system. It's pretty much gonna be the only, handheld Soul Calibur. I mean, I guess if the Vita was still relevant, maybe Namco would make something for it. But, guess not. But yeah, I've been just playing this a lot, doing a lot of, quick battles and stuff, because again, there's no arcade mode, because, hey, it's fun, and it's Soul Calibur on the go, so I can play it almost whenever the hell I want. So, very, good game, very nice entry into the PSP's, library, just good stuff overall. Okay, how about Arnold Palmer Tournament Golf on the Sega Genesis? Now, as you can see, I have it in the box, or the case rather, in the Sega Classic formation, and set of re-releases that Sega had. They also had this and Mega Hits, which were basically the newer red labeling style Genesis games, from like 93 and 94, except they had like a little yellow banner that said Mega Hit Series, whereas these were just the grid pattern Genesis games, and the cover was like manipulated or posted many times like that, and the Sega Classic border on it. I feel like this probably belongs to more so a collector who actually cares about these damn things, but in my case, I just wanted the game. Let me talk about the game itself. Here's the cartridge, but on the label it just says Tournament Golf. But on the front, it actually says Arnold Palmer. Now, Arnold Palmer himself isn't alive anymore because, well, he's an old guy. And, even in this picture, he looks pretty damn old, so I imagine he wouldn't, live that much longer. But enough about this guy. How's the game itself? One thing that kind of sticks out about this game is that you see this game a lot on, early Genesis advertisements. You see this sitting next to, Tommy Lacerda baseball, Joe Montana's football, and Pat Riley basketball, just all those games with Sega going yeah, look at these Sega Sports we got. Awesome games featuring, big shot celebrities here only on Genesis. That's what they kind of were, saying, Of course, you would also see them advertised next to, Spider-Man on the Genesis, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and Altered Beast, maybe even Golden Axe, but was Golden Axe even around in '89 on the Genesis? I don't remember. But yeah, I wanted this game because, hey, I like golf games, and this is, a pretty good one. I've only sat down and played it really once, and played, 18 holes of the Japan course, and, well, it seems about just as fun as any other good golf game, with a good power meter and good mechanics, and, of course, frustration everywhere, because even though I've played these kind of games to death, there's still always fucking problems, but whatever, that's part of the fun, Good stuff. Here's another golf game. Here we have True Golf Classics Pebble Beach Golf Links for the Super Nintendo. Again, just wanted some golf action, and, even though I have Hal's Hole-in-One Golf on the Super Nintendo, gotta get some more Super Nintendo games, more Super Nintendo golf games. Fucking, everyone loves the Super Nintendo. I love the Super Nintendo. So let's get some more for it, even if it's not, something all that well-known and popular. And again, this is a similar sort of case You know, it seems like it's just as good as any other good golf game. It has pretty good music, so I will say that. And, you know, again, I sat down for, you know, an evening and I played 18 holes of this. I don't think there are more than 18 holes because Arnold Palmer Tournament Golf, I know, has more holes, or at the very least more courses. Maybe they're all the same fucking hole. I don't know. I haven't played enough of it. But yeah, you know, T&E Soft. I tell you, these guys, the only thing that they seem to ever fucking made were golf games. Sure, they made Red Alarm on the Virtual Boy, but again, just look at their history. Just golf games everywhere, you know? One other interesting tidbit about this game is that, okay, so there's this, like, you know, big-time, well-known collector, you know, in the retro game collecting scene. His name is John Hancock. You may have heard of him. One thing that I find interesting is that, you know, for many years, like for 23 years, he was pursuing, you know, all the Super Nintendo games, which is like 700 of them, you know, I think. But yeah, he was pursuing a complete Super Nintendo collection. And in the final, like, 20 to 30 games that he needed, a lot of them were just, you know, rare or uncommon stuff, you know. Things like Incantation, Mega Man X3, The Ren and Stimpy Show, Buckaroos, or, you know, Spider-Man, Venom, Separation Anxiety, Wild Guns, or, you know, Magic Boy, you know, just all kinds of, like, uncommon or really hard to find stuff. But amongst that was just randomly this, True Golf Classics, Pebble Beach Golf Links. I guess he just, you know, overlooked it for many, many years, such a common game, but I can't imagine that it was that much of a struggle for him to complete that Super Nintendo collection. And that's just what makes this game stand out more, knowing that, you know, hey, this was up there with one of the last ones, even though it's not a rare or expensive game at all. And I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to trash talk John Hancock, obviously. I'm just, you know, making a interesting little fact, or saying an interesting little fact. How about another Super Nintendo game? Here we have Super Bases Loaded. I mean, the front may have you believe that it says Ryan Sandberg plays Super Bases Loaded, but I don't know, man. I think it's just called Super Bases Loaded. It's baseball, and, you know, besides, like, tennis, golf, and bowling games, I don't really have a ton of sports games. And, of course, besides Mario sports games, of course. So, you know what? Hey, what the hell? Why not? There's probably a shit ton of baseball games on the Super Nintendo. There's, like, almost 17 of them on the NES. You can get this along with, like, Super Baseball 2020, or, you know, the Ken Griffey Presents Major League Baseball, wherever the hell that game is called. So, you know what? Get this. Enjoy some 16-bit baseball, fucking home runs. You bat, you pitch, you run, you catch, you control in the field, America's pastime, all that stuff, all in glorious 16 bits. One of the earliest ones on the system. And, you know, hey, Bases Loaded on the NES might be one of the most common games for the system. But that game says Jalico on the end label, like other Jalico NES games. Whereas this, it says the fucking name of the game. So therefore, it's superior.